he used to have sex with me all the time, and now I'm putting on this sexy lingerie. I'm trying to do this stuff for him, and he won't even touch me. And the question is, okay, does he feel loved in this relationship? Because if he doesn't feel loved, he ain't going to touch you. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Decoding Dating. My name is Adam Melnyk. I'm a licensed coach with the International Coaching Federation with over a decade of experience in mental illness and addictions.
Okay, and my name is Evelyn. So hi, everyone. I'm the founder of Love and Connection, Inc., and the creator of the Love Circle. I help single professionals find meaningful connection through our event, matchmaking, and real conversation about love. We're so excited to be here today.
I love it. And we are going to be talking about a very interesting topic that I'm kind of excited for, which is all about sex and intimacy. So I got a question for you. What is the importance of sex and intimacy in a relationship?
I think it's something that I think it's important. God created sex, right? For a reason. I think it helps to kind of bond, helps with bonding, right? Helps to kind of it deepens the connections between couple. So it's important. So that sex intimacy is not just the sex, the act, right? It's about many things else outside of that. It's even the way you treat your partner, the way you speak to them, the way your kindness and the things that you do that shows that you love them. Those things are also intimacy, especially for women. Those things lead to, you know, beautiful sex, right? So that's why I think sex is important, because it makes life better. It makes love sweeter. It makes love beautiful, right? It's just that bond that brings couples together, makes them deepens their connections or relationship, I would say.
Well, and I would agree with that point. Sex is often, in my eyes, more about bonding than
Yeah.
just having just to get one out, to be honest. And I often see it as a tool that's very important in a relationship for couples to bond together and grow closer.
Yeah.
And I see a lot in couples that are in more of a long-term relationship when they just stop having sex and they stop being intimate with each other, the relationship almost falls apart because it turns from one of couples into we're roommates.
Yeah, I think that's the difference. I think I watched a podcast where a lady was talking about the difference between our friends and our partner. She's like, the guy asked the question. I said, "Do you love me?" I'm like, "No, I don't." She was like, "I don't love you. You're my friend, because we don't have intimacy, like sex." I'm like, that's interesting. The way she was able to differentiate that. So, in a relationship where there is not sex, you become kind of like friend, roommate type of thing. So yeah, I do agree with what you said. So I think it's pretty important, right, for any relationship. Yeah.
It is. And it's a question that we don't really talk about, which is how long should you wait until you have sex with somebody? Because I hear all types of myths out there. Like you don't have sex on the first date, wait a month, wait a year. What is your thoughts on it?
I would say, as as a Christian, I would say, wait before wait until marriage, right? That I believe that some of the things in the Bible are kind of there to protect us, you know, because when you say you want to wait till marriage, then you kind of know the intention of the person, because a lot of people want to go into relationship for many reasons. Some of them may just see it, oh, she's beautiful, and they just want to get into your pant. That's all. But then the waiting is important because they tend to know what this person's intention is. Do they really like me? Do they really want to know me? Or do they just want to get to my pant, right? So that's the goal. So I think that's the goal. That's the importance of saying waiting till marriage, right? So, but that is kind of like, yes, I think waiting is important because, yeah, but it's very difficult to see someone willing to wait, because I know back home in Nigeria, there was this lady that was every guy that comes to her, she would say, wait, and she was single for a very long time. I'm not sure if she's married today, but you hardly see that person that would be okay with waiting till marriage. And I've seen a lot of like, like church people where they tend to marry quick because because now you are a pastor's son or you grew up in the church, you understand. I don't have to keep explaining to you why it's important to wait, because is part of like it's in the Bible, so it's something that you should know. So you see situations where it helps to wait because then the guy wants to get married quicker. You know what I'm saying? Like it makes getting married quicker. Like guys tend to like for me to wait, then I have to get married to this girl. It makes courtships shorter. Now we see relationship where the man is getting everything he wants to get while he's dating you. So what is the rush? So that's why you see courtship that is lasting 2 years, or dating 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Some are even going up to 10 years because like, what is the rush? You're living with me. I'm enjoying all the benefits of marriage. You cook for me. Maybe we even have kids together. So why am I rushing? So that's the difference between. That's why that waiting to marriage helps. But in case that's not possible, I would say, wait till when you know the person, and just like them. You've studied them and you kind of see that okay, their intention is actually good, depending on what you're looking for in a relationship, right?
Well, I think waiting is a very good idea. I typically see almost a pressure. I see it a lot more for women than it is for men to just have sex earlier
Hmm.
rather than wait. And it's almost this idea that if I don't have sex with him, then he's going to go find somebody else. So
Hmm.
I need to lock him down now.
That's interesting.
The unfortunate thing about that is that's not how you lock a man down.
Hmm.
Because when it comes to relationships, like if a man is just interested in you for having sex, like that's all he wants. He's not going to wait for marriage. He's not going to he's not going to pursue that long-term vision. And so by just giving in and having sex like immediately, if you're looking for marriage, if you're looking for that long-term relationship, you're almost hurting yourself in just the long term and the short term.
Hmm. I think it's interesting because you said most of the time it's the woman that wants to do it quicker, like fast. And it's interesting because I think it's the other way.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like it's the man that wants to rush into it, and a lot of women that I have seen would want to wait. Yeah, so that's what maybe I'm talking from like my cultural background. I think that's where I say it. And I feel like when a woman wants to lock down a guy, I think that's kind of low self-esteem some point, right? Like, try you can't lock down anybody, you can't really force anybody to love you. So that's the way I see it the opposite way. Because I see a lot of girls complain that, oh, the guy just wants to, just use them and dump them, right? And they want to wait, and there are different kind of 90-day rules and stuff like that, 1 month rules intentionally, and just to ensure that the man intention is right. So
Mhm.
yeah, I don't see that rule really for men, but I see it more on the women's side, creating these rules to, before sex, right?
Well, and the rules are important, and I would argue you probably shouldn't have first sex on the first date if you're looking for a long-term relationship. You should wait. I think it's a very unique situation for each individual on how long you should wait, whether that is marriage. I know some people they like to drag out how long it takes for them to get married, and some men they're just not kind of interested in that. For myself, I think a good rule of thumb is usually about at least a month.
A month.
Yeah,
Hmm.
just a month of dating. Just get to know them. Just have fun in the courtship. And then if things are going well and you guys are both feeling it, why not?
Yeah, that's interesting. I think we're talking about this in a group, and a guy was saying that sometimes It doesn't really matter if the guy, I'm not talking about the first date. At least first date is just like bare minimum, really. But I'm like, it says it doesn't really matter how soon the man does it. It's he might do it. He might wait for a year, and his intention may be still bad. He might, have sex with you like in 3 days, and he might have the long term focus, right? So it doesn't really matter. It's not from a guy perspective that doesn't really do anything for guys. It's just that initial intention from the beginning, and it could be 1 year. It could wait. It could even wait till marriage and be terrible after marriage. It could do it in the first date, and it could be a long lasting relation marriage, and we could lead to marriage. So it's like it doesn't really matter. It's just that does he even like you? Because if he likes you, then that depends on. So the sex doesn't really play a part really
Well,
in
it's the I guess the rule ultimately is trying to figure out the intention behind it.
yeah,
Are you interested in a long-term relationship or not?
yeah.
And like you said, if they're interested in a long-term relationship, it really kind of doesn't matter when you have sex,
Mhm.
because the intention is, I want to marry you, I want to settle down with you, I want to have a long-term relationship with you.
Yeah,
Uh, but if the intention is, I'm just interested in a fling, then the waiting rule will help kind of filter those people out.
yeah. So it's more like for you to kind of know his intention really, but it doesn't really guarantee if it's yeah. So I think because there are a lot of people that will fake their intention, right? They will say all the right things, like be there for you. They know what you want. They will ask you a lot of questions to kind of understand what you want, and they will just act that, right? And they act that, and they pretend to be that for 1 month. You know what I'm saying? Like people tend to pretend, and then you feel like, oh yeah, now I think this guy is this, is that, and then you give it, you let him, and then it's a disaster, right? At the end. So I think it's just, yeah, but normally that waiting helps regardless because you can't even act for so long. So that's the question about, is even 1 month enough, right? How long can you act? How long can you actually pretend?
Mhm.
Because there are ladies too that pretend like, oh, this guy he has his life together. And if you're a guy that talks, she kind of know what you want. And she can become that, and it could so but how but you she cannot sustain pretending for long. It will somehow you will start noticing that she's just some change in behavior and stuff like that, and then you can figure out that this girl is not, and that's why the waiting is important. But how long is the waiting? Like, is 1 month sufficient, or do we need more time? Or you know
Well, and the waiting isn't a foolproof strategy. There are going to be those people that do play the long game, and that's why you almost have to be a bit more of a detective and kind of see the other actions attached to it of, okay, are they interested in a long-term relationship with me? Because they're going to be doing a whole whackload of other things beyond just, hey, I can wait for sex, if they're genuinely interested in that connection.
mm,
But
yeah.
I know that I do have a question in regards with sex. How do you set boundaries in just a sexual relationship?
Hmm. How do you set boundaries? I think one is the waiting is even boundaries on its own. Um,
So I'm bringing it up.
right? It's boundaries on its own. And then I think it's always important to communicate what sex means to you versus the other person. There are some things that maybe they are used to doing that maybe you're not comfortable doing. And it's really important to talk detailedly about it. And some people they find it difficult to say, or maybe some people they feel like, oh, I like this guy and I don't want to restrict him or whatever. And then after the act or everything, they start doing things that they don't like to do, and then they start resenting or they start hating themselves, or So I think the discussion around that is important, and it's between you and your partner. Deciding, okay, this is what I want, this is how I want to have sex, these are the styles that I'm comfortable with, and those kind of conversation, right? I think it's important to set those boundaries, and it's You cannot expect someone to know what your boundaries are around sex. So it's just something that you basically need to talk about. So that at the end of the day, you guys actually have you're enjoying the experience rather than, you know, not, right?
Well, and that communication is so important. I remember working with a young lady who didn't communicate her boundaries effectively around sex and ended up doing something that she did not like at all.
Yeah.
And it left her with a very traumatic scar.
Yeah.
As that moment of working with her and saying, okay, well, how do we communicate to our next partner so that we don't wind up in the same situation again?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's yeah, it's unfortunate that a lot of people actually do that. Just I want to please this guy. I don't want to be, like I'm not, um I'm not boring, or that's kind of but I think you have to talk. And I think you should talk earlier on in the relationship. Talk about sex. I don't know, it's very important, right, in a relationship, so why not talk about it? And it comes to even about some people are using condom protections and stuff for bed control is part of it. Testing each other before, those are part of the conversations that need to be talked about and shouldn't be taken lightly, right? And yeah, and if they are not okay with whatever you're proposing, because that's what it's your body, right? Some point, then okay, this person is not that person for me. They don't seem to understand why this is important to me. Then you can make decisions, because that's kind of how you tend to filter people. You filter through, like, talking about boundaries in terms of waiting. All this kind of conversation is how you filter if this person is the right person for you long term. And it's both ways, from both the male, on the men's side and the female side. Because the man too might want the girl that is freaky, and then the girl is not. So it's like, then that's not the kind of girl that long term will satisfy you, right? So, you
Well, and
know.
I think that's where there's that communication, but also patience. Because I know some people that, for example, are into some very interesting kinks,
Hmm.
and their partner isn't, but their partner might not have really explored the world of sex.
Hmm.
And so, if you're more experienced in that world, your job is to be patient and to help them kind of explore that world a little bit more.
Hmm.
And one of the tools I often talk about it is I love to teach people the traffic light system: red, green, yellow. So red is anything you don't want to do.
Hmm.
I will not do it. Let's not even talk about it. Yellow is I'm interested in it.
Yeah.
We can try it out. If I don't like it, I'll put it into the red light category. And then green light is I'm good to go. Let's do
Yeah.
this. And it
Yeah.
kind of helps filter out, especially people that haven't really explored the world of sex, the idea of like, oh, there's things out there that I could like.
Yeah, I do agree with that. And I also like there are some things that some people are teachable, like they're open-minded and they want to learn, they want to explore, like you said, especially if they are not exposed in that area. But also some people are not willing to, even explore or try anything. And then so that right, that okay, this and some people are so exposed to crazy things, they've gotten too exposed to, porn, and they've e- engaged in all crazy things, and they don't even want to accept that, what, you too on the extreme side. Sometimes you have to tone it down. Sometimes you have to tone it down. Sometimes you have to explore. So that's that middle ground. But the most important thing is the openness to want to the openness in exploring or not, right? Is the openness. If you're not, if someone is not open, there's no convincing that would happen that would make me wanna. So it's understand, like, I can, okay, if I like these things, maybe you're not exposed to that right now, but are you willing to want to learn? You know, and if they say no, then there's no way around it. You can force them, right? So that's the difference between being teachable or, yeah.
Well, and there's that point of like if you're really into something and your partner isn't, you kind of have to stop and ask yourself like how important is this for me?
Yeah.
Because if this is like super duper important and they're just not interested in it, the relationship might not work out long term. Or you might have to negotiate in some way. For example, I know some couples that they're in a quasi monogamous relationship, but then to satisfy one of their kinks, they go out and they go do some stuff with some strangers. And then they come back to the relationship. And that's how they kind of navigated it is they say, you know what, this is our relationship, but you can go out every so often and kind of enjoy yourself.
That's interesting. People are different. I don't know because I think I've seen a lot of debate around that. That is this long term, like because I feel for a woman perspective, I don't think because I love my man, I don't think I want to share him with somebody else. And so and that goes to the intention, like what are you guys prioritizing in the relationship, right? I don't tend to judge people. People do what works for them. But the point is, for me, what is the intention of that relationship? Are we just having fun, or are we looking long term? Because I don't know, guys, especially guys, can be jealous. They don't want to share that women. They don't even want to hear that a woman is doing. But when you are able to allow your woman do that, so it's like you're prioritizing, like prioritizing your marriage is sex, and can you sustain that long term, right? So it's just, I know some people just like to have fun and enjoy the moment, but you know what works. So
Well,
and those are the conversations you have to have, right?
well, like I've talked with swingers, I've talked with people in polyamorous relationships, all different types of relationships out there. And one thing that comes clear is communication is
Yeah,
very important.
yeah,
And if you don't understand what you're getting yourself into, for example, if I'm very monogamous and I'm getting with a woman that's very much a
yeah.
swinger, it's not going to work.
It's not.
And you need to know this before you start committing to somebody else. Like there's nothing but pain and sadness down that road.
Yeah, and that's something about also like a lot of people ask you, do you use sex toys? Because it's like those are important conversations too, because sometimes you can't compete with that, right? You can like if you say you like get a like a want you want a single woman like a monogamy, right? And she's not, you cannot compete because she's used to having multiple. You can't compete with that, and you'll be miserable long term if you're trying to. No matter how you say, oh, you claim to love her, you're trying to tame her or whatever, it cannot work. So the same thing with okay, she's someone and she tells you like she's crazy, like she has so many sex toys, and you don't like it. But because you like her, you're like, okay, we can try it. But at the end of the day, you are not happy long term because you can't meet up. It's either you accept it or you say, you know what, this is not my thing. So that's all boils down to communication and be realistic with yourself, asking yourself questions like, can this work for me long term? Have we talked about everything around sex and intimacy, right? And then you can move forward from there because sex is pretty important. There's a lot of relationship that breaks just because of that. Even in marriage, like it's even because marriage is like you have access to the person all the time. So it's like it is even more important in marriage. And there's also something about there are some people where they can go months or weeks without sex, and some people they have to have it multiple times a day. So that's the kind of conversation you have to also have. That okay.
Well, it's funny you say that because I remember dating a woman that had a very low sex drive, and
Yeah,
I had a much higher sex drive.
yeah,
It did not work out
yeah.
because I'm sitting there going, I am so thirsty for water. And it feels like I can never get any water.
Oh,
And
yeah.
she's sitting there going, man, life is so good. I love it. And you have to be aware of like, well, what is my sex drive like? What is my partner's sex drive like? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes you just have to compromise and say, okay, they have a higher sex drive. So what am I willing to give? Because if your sex drives just aren't compatible, they're just not compatible. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, talked about compromise, right? Some people are not very low, but some people are really high, crazy high, and some people are just like mid, and it's like because sometimes you're not gonna it's not gonna be high all the time. There'll be times when it's gonna slow down from you. Sometimes maybe as you grow older, if you guys get married, you grow older, you might slow down. It might just, for women, when they get to their menopause stage, they become more, they need it more. So sometimes it goes up and down, right? So you want to ask yourself, can I manage it or not? And so women too, when they have low, they can still say, for my man, I want to satisfy him, I'm going to please him, right? Sometimes you can walk around it, but I would say the most important thing, if you're very high, at least mid to high, the low is always very difficult to manage. And for the woman to shift, she's low and you're high, she get frustrated, like why all the time, right? So, so for that, I don't know, like I don't know if there's any man that is low, but sometimes it's just lazy for some women. For some people, basically it's lazy. I know from the man's side or from the women's, they just want to, they don't want to try. Because sex is not like we're not born into it, right? It's something that is kind of like, we learn those things and naturally, and I think some women, some situations are like, maybe there's, being, when she says, from one perspective, like, I'm not, maybe she doesn't want it more often. There could be reason behind it. She could use the excuse that she's low, she has low sex drive. Maybe that's not it. Maybe she's not just attracted to you anymore. Maybe she's never been attracted to you even, and she doesn't want to. Or maybe there's some things that you need to learn as a man or as a woman to bring yourself to that level, or maybe more fun. Maybe there's some things that she's not communicating to you.
Well, and it gets very dangerous when you kind of get into that territory, because if you're not having sex on a regular basis, or even worse, withholding sex or using it as a punishment, you're getting into territory where I don't think your relationship's going to last, like long term. If you can't work this out, if you can't communicate this, I don't think there's a place for that relationship, which is sad to see.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's why a lot of people tend to just pretend, when they meet this guy that they like, and this guy, even when they are communicating that, okay, this is who I am, this is what I like, they tend to say, oh, yeah, okay, I'm like that too. And then when they face reality to actually see what this guy is actually saying, they're like, oh my God, they start feeling like, oh, they kind of deceived him, or, they start struggling, and you can't sustain that for long, right? So in the long run, it's just being true to yourself, just being true to yourself, and say it the way it is. If they don't align, then they're not your person, and be okay with that, to move on and find someone that is more compatible to you, because sex is not something to take lightly, regardless of where you're from, your race, your religion background. It is non-negotiable. It is very, very important. So it's nothing to joke with.
Yeah, it is incredibly important. Again, I've seen so many relationships end because of sex. Either the sex is bad, or there's not enough of it, or one partner's needs aren't being fulfilled. It's rough. And
Yeah.
I know a rule of thumb I usually use for many of my clients, especially for long-term relationships, is a healthy relationship, you're looking at sex at least once a week. That's considered healthy. And
Yeah.
if you're having sex like once a month, once every 3 or 4 months, that you might want to take a pause and be like, hey, what's going on in the relationship? And are we both happy and content?
If you look at it, saying once a week, that's 4 times a month. That's pretty low.
That's really low, but like this is the average for a long-term relationship.
That's like 4 times times 12. So it's
And I've
pretty.
worked with and I've worked with couples that I talk with them like, how often are you having sex? And they're like, I have sex once a month. I'm like,
Ooh.
oh, well, I see why we're talking today.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I think sometimes life may get so tough that that's not what you're even thinking about. I know a woman that there was a TV show where she went there and she was reporting her husband, but the guy is like, I have mortgage to pay. I just lost my job, and those things is affecting his mood, and those are there are a lot of factors that actually affect the frequency of sex or not, and those things are always temporary. especially if you know your partner, they are always, and those kind of things actually also give you an idea of what is going on in your relationship. Like if you have a man that is always, interested before, and all of a sudden is slowing down or is no longer interested, there are two things that can happen. Maybe stressed. Is it stressed, or is it seeing somebody else? Right? So those kind of indicates something is kind of wrong in your relationship. But so it kind of, so it's, and that's where communication still comes in. Like, okay, is there something that is, how can I support you? How can I help you? What's wrong? Do we need to go to therapy? What is, just kind of asking, being observant and asking questions and communicating to your partner. If you're stressed, communicate them to them that, okay, you know what, this is what's going on. I need help. What can we do? I'm stressed. And some people it's just lack of, maybe they just lost that connection. So, but there are things that lead to that connection being, not there anymore, right?
Well, it's funny you say that because I remember talking with a friend and he ended up having to fake orgasms in his relationship. So he was incredibly stressed out.
Oh,
He was a very busy man. He was incredibly stressed out. And his wife at the time wanted to make him happy. And so sometimes he'd come home and she's
oh,
dressed up in sexy lingerie. And this man's like, I can't. I can't. I have way too much on my plate. My life it's too full. But he ended up feeling almost trapped. He's like, if I reject her, she's going to take this as a personal attack, and then it's going to cause even worse relationships or worse problems in the relationships. Or I could just fake it and pretend and just get this kind of over with so that her ego is intact, and then she feels like she's done something, but at the end of the day, I don't really want to do it. It's a very interesting conversation.
very interesting. The thing is, it's interesting because I don't know that men to kind of fake it, because I think majority of women actually fake it, right?
Well,
It's
listen, I know I personally have had to fake an orgasm or two in my
really,
like, it does happen.
yeah, kind of like for men it's different, right? Man has to, ejaculate, right? So for women, I think, not every man can even get them to that point. And sometimes it might not even be the man, it might be just them. They have so much that they are. Maybe, a lot of trauma can actually affect that. And there's a lot of, maybe she's just, her mind is not there, or she's not just into you, or but there are a lot of instances where majority, I would say, women fake it just to make him feel good, right? And yeah, because I think men likes that. You see a lot of women say, oh, you just sometimes just fake it, right? So they know that, okay. And because some people are so exposed to what they watch in porn and stuff, they think that's the reality. It's a movie. It's fake. It's a movie, and that's it. So it's not the reality. And then sometimes you just, as a woman, you just try to kind of fake it. Like, it's, we talk about this as women. It's majority of the time, yeah. So just want my man to feel good. So I was not aware that men to do that. But
Listen, there are times you just have to fake it.
you have to
It
just,
does happen. It is rare, but it does happen. I've talked with many male colleagues. They're like, "Yeah, sometimes you do it."
yeah, yeah. Not all the time you want to be in the mood, right? You just do it for your partner, really. Most of the time, growing up, you would hear that you say, whenever your husband wants or whatever, give him, even if you're not in the mood, just, so a lot of women just do it just to please the other person. And I think that is not bad, really. It's just an act of love. It's like, as a man, you come back home, you're tired, but you see your wife struggling, and you, even if when you're tired, you go to the kitchen and still support her. Not because you want to, but because you love her, and you don't want to see her struggle like that. And so there's a lot of things you would have to do for your partner that you do not really want to, you're not in the mood to, but just to please them, just to put a smile on their faces. And so that's where, if we can apply that to sex, like, okay, I'm not really feeling it right now, but my partner, he's really, really wants it. So let me just please him. And it's just that's love. Like, sometimes you do not have to go with, like, oh, I'm not feeling that, I'm not feeling, no. Sometimes you just have to do it for them. and and that's where sometimes you fake it, right? Just okay, I just don't want to do it, like do it, but I want him to feel good about himself afterward. So are things that you do for love sometimes, right?
Well, and you're absolutely right, because for men, love is a part of bonding. It's a part
Yeah.
of intimacy. And by you wanting to have sex with me, I feel wanted. I feel sexy. It helps my pride and my ego. And then if I'm with a woman that is pushing me away, saying I have a headache, I'm not interested, I'm busy, I'm stressed out, that hurts me. I feel dejected. I feel like you don't love me, that I'm not worthy. And it ends up creating a rift in the relationship, when it's like, no, like, I understand you might not feel like you need it. However, this is maybe important for him. And you have to do it for him, because how important is your relationship?
Yeah, I think that's it. Like some things you have to do for love, right? Some things you do because you just love the person, and it doesn't have to go with mood, right? And because there's no way, when you keep rejecting someone, they get tired of it, because it takes a lot for a man to do that, or for a woman to, because the way a man would feel, a woman to feel the same, like if she wants to. So like if she wants to and she asks you, most of the time, majority of the time, the man would comply. They'll be like, okay, majority of the time. But when she gets to that point where he says consistently, oh no, I'm tired, she withdraws, right? And she feels like maybe she's no longer beautiful anymore, or maybe you're seeing somebody else. What is wrong with her? She start questioning a lot of things about herself or about the relationship. So, I know, people say, even when you are not in the mood and you are just extremely tired, or maybe you need to get up the next day, whatever, it's the way you communicate it to, right? It's not like, you know what, I don't want to do it, but it's like, maybe this night I'm tired. What about tomorrow morning? I'm gonna do this and do that. So it's like he's looking forward to that. He's not feeling rejected. He would understand that, oh, you're tired, but I'm looking forward to tomorrow, right? And then tomorrow is not like he's the one asking you, really. You like, babe, you just put it nicely, and then it's like, oh, yeah. So he won't really feel rejected that way. So it's still around how you communicate. Um,
Well, and I love that. It's like, babe, I'm not interested tonight, but Friday, let's make a date night. It's not really a rejection. It's like, I find you sexy. I'm just not here tonight. But also, I think there's a critical point of, if you're going to do that, you have to follow through.
you have
Like, you
to.
have to follow through.
Yeah.
Because if you don't follow through, like, you end up teaching him, oh, okay, so if you reject me, like, you're not going to be able to keep your word or your promise. So I shouldn't believe you when you say this to me.
Yeah, that's, I can't trust you like that, right? So it's like, and then you might want to retaliate and say, okay, next time, too, when you ask me, I'm going to do the same, right? Then that's like a, bad circle going, back and forth and stuff like that. So yeah, the communication factor is like everything. I think like communication is everything in a relationship, every single thing, because no matter the topic or no matter the situation, communication is always the solution. And how effective is the communication? The quality of it. So yeah, it's so like, I think the question I want to ask you is, what is intimacy for you, for from a guy perspective? I want to hear, because it's a bit different for women. So I want to hear when you're talking about intimacy, because sex is sex, right? So I see sex and I see making love, right? It's two different things, right? So yeah, so I want to know what you think about intimacy to you from a man perspective.
I think when it comes to, like, one night stands, I
Yeah.
don't really see that as an intimate experience.
Yeah.
I see that more as just like, I'm fulfilling a need. That's
Yeah.
all I'm doing. I'm not trying to bond with you. I am just filling a carnal pleasure of mine. When it comes to intimacy, however, and it comes to sex, it's, no, I love you. I want to explore you. And I want to make you feel good. And that's the thing when it comes to, for example, faking orgasms.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why the guy wants you to fake the orgasm, well, he actually doesn't want you to fake the orgasm. He wants you to have real
Real.
orgasms,
It's real.
because what he wants to make you feel good. He wants to give you this service. He just might be incompetent or lacking knowledge on how to do that for you,
Yeah.
but he wants to do that. And so when I look at intimacy, it's exploring somebody on a very deep and personal level
Mm,
and understanding who they are and sharing an experience that is very personal.
yeah.
That you just like, I'm not, there's many things that I would do for my partner that I would never, ever, ever do to a one night stand. Like, like no.
That's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. From a woman perspective, yeah. It's, intimacy starts from, it could even start from like the nice conversation on the phone, right? How you speak to her on the phone, maybe how you support her with a task or in the kitchen, or it start from that. Like, I watched a video where a lady came back from, she's a nurse, so she came back from work, and she was like, as soon as she got back, she was obviously tired. And she was telling the guy, this is what happened at work. And now, okay, now I have to cook this. I have to make this for you. I have to make this for the kids. And then the guy was like, oh, just hold on there. I've done this for you. The kids are already sleeping. They've eaten. And I have just made your favorite smoothie and your food is ready. She just smiled. And majority of the people are like, oh, this night is going to be a beautiful night for you. You see, he would never ask her and she would say no. Never. Because he's already put that smile on her face. Like, she's already so excited. Now I don't have to worry about this anymore. I just can relax. Majority of the time, when she would not reject you, because she would be looking forward to it. She'll be looking forward to show appreciation somehow. So sometimes, when you see that your partner is not really, interested, or they're not, they used to be, and it's not just that act. Sometimes it's just you asking yourself questions like, what am I not doing? What do I need to do more to make her feel loved, to make her feel beautiful? And for a woman, it's like, it's not just that moment. It is throughout the day. You're building that momentum. Like, okay, you're building that, and at night, trust me, you're not gonna force it. It's gonna be easy. But if you've been nasty the whole day and you've been terrible, trust me, 90% of the time, she's not gonna want to. She won't want you to even touch her, because you've really been terrible the whole day. So that's from a woman perspective. It's more. It's not just the act. It's just like a woman. Like, it is not just the act that satisfies her. It's the romance, those the foreplay before it, that actually is the satisfying experience for her, not the main thing. And it's different for men. So
Well,
some instance, yeah.
I would argue the foundation of good sex is love,
Yes,
like full
exactly.
stop. And it's not only filling her love tank so she feels loved, but filling his.
Yeah.
Because I know, for example, in long term relationships, I've heard it. You know, he used to have sex with me all the time, and now I'm putting on this sexy lingerie. I'm trying to do this stuff for him, and he won't even touch me. And the
Mm,
question is, okay, does he feel loved in this relationship? Because if
yeah.
he doesn't feel loved, he ain't going to touch you. And
Mm,
it is that foundation of like, you have to make your partner feel loved, feel cared about. And to kind of branch off onto that, uh, men and women, to kind of get their engines going, it's different. But it all happens in the brain. And I typically find women are far more cerebral, I would argue, because you have to do that. You have to send the the text message, the flirtiness.
yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I do agree. I do agree. I think so. I think for me, my perspective, I think from the woman's angle, it takes more effort from the man. Like, I feel like if for a man, you could just probably just walk up, you could just be, I did it, and it'll be like, okay, as much as it's important for him to feel loved as well. You have to feel that rage, you have to feel respected and all those things. But usually, a man usually would, if he loves you, like anytime really you ask him, is open to want to. it's there's a reason why a lot of men complain about the fact that they are not getting as much from their wife. It's, and that's because, men and women are wired differently. And for a woman angle, she needs to, it takes a different process. It takes more than the act. So it takes, like, you have to learn your woman and what makes her happy, what makes her smile. And, a man could be just like a woman, you're very intentional about what she likes, the gift that you present to her. A man, they can, they're fine. They're like more simple, So it's like understanding both your partner and understanding, okay, when I did this, this was the result. Okay, if I want a better result, this is what I need to do. And like you said, the foundation is love. Love, because with love, there's so many things that comes around it, right? So yeah, so
Well, I think I got to push back a little bit because I would agree men are simpler. However, I think many people use that as an excuse to be just lazy at sex.
mm,
And it's like, I've had people that are like, how do I get my man to just tear my clothes off? I'm like, have you flirted with him? Like,
mm,
how? It's like, well, it's not just looking pretty, guys. Like, send them sexy pictures. Talk to, because men are very visual creatures.
yeah, yeah,
We're the biggest sex organ in both men and women are our brains. Like
yeah,
that is your sex organ. Men just happen to be far more visual creatures. But
yeah,
on top of that, like they love the flirty texts. They love the saucy messages, the cute little grabs of the shirt, the spanking of the butt. Like they love that stuff. And if you can build that sexual tension like throughout a day, oh, he's gonna rip your clothes off in the evening. Absolutely. Like I
okay.
can promise you that.
That's good to know, because yeah, I think it's important to know that both people want to be treated special, right? It's not just from the woman's angle, but the men to want to feel that way, especially the understanding. And I think that's what I like what we do, because you provide the man perspective. It's for me too, it's like new, like, oh, I didn't know that, right? So yeah, it's good to know. A man to want to feel loved, he wants to be excited as well about you, and you have to be intentional about your love life and do the crazy things sometimes. You can't consistently do it all the time, but let there be special moments. It shouldn't be just the same, and that's why people get tired and bored. There should be some eyes. It could be like once a week is like awesome, like role play, all these lovely things. And all of this could be normal and stuff. And then, or once a month should be crazy that you guys can look forward to it. Do something crazy and be excited, make it exciting. Yeah, it's lovely. I agree.
And this is why I argue this point with people all the time, which is you don't understand mathematics, so you had to study it. You didn't understand how to communicate with people, so you had to study it. When you went out dating, did you know how to date somebody? No. So you went out and you had to get firsthand experience and you had to study it. When it comes to sex, study it. There's a whole world out there. And if you don't want to be bored in your relationship, go explore it.
Yeah.
Like, so like, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. We're not, like I said, it's not like something that, it's just like we're not just born into it, right? Like it's something that is part of our biology. Like we have these organs, right? But the experience part is something that we have to learn through movies, through books, through families and friends that we can discuss those things with. So you can't just tell me this is the way I am. No, that's not the way you are. It's especially when you have a partner, it's not just about you anymore. It's the fact that, oh my God, like you have to learn to please each other, right? And I understand that when it comes to like the boundary that we spoke about before, there are just some things that, you know, might be a no-no for you and reasons for it. And like even if your partner has to present it to you, it's not that you're trying to shame them, like, you're disgusted or whatever. But this is why
Don't
I
shame
don't,
them on that.
yeah, don't shame them. They're just being vulnerable and or just having a conversation with you. So it's you to say, you know what, I'm not about this, and this is why. It's against my faith, it's against this, it's against that, and then, but then it's up to them to say, okay, am I good to compromise on this area or not? Or are you open to exploring that? And those are the conversations that you guys can have. But the long run is you guys love each other, and you want to make each other happy. And sometimes that comes with compromise. Because sometimes one of you may even fall sick. One of you may even, it could be accident, it could be something that would prevent you from doing or providing that intimacy that, but at that point in time is when that's when it's very important. That's when you really know the kind of partner that you have. Because I had of a situation where a lady had a baby and she had a C-section, and you have to wait 6 weeks, about 6 weeks, I think. And the guy, 1 week in, was it 1 week? Yeah, 1 week in, the guy was really threatening her and said, if you don't let me, I'm gonna go get it outside. And this lady, this is a real true story. She allowed it because she was scared to lose the man, and she went into a coma. Like she was rushed to the hospital, and she was in coma for a few days. And and I was like, I don't even know what to say about it because like one, it doesn't even love you from the get go. I don't think so.
At that point, I would argue that that's not love. There sounds like there might be some abuse going on.
Yeah, I think it was all about sex sometimes, and that's the crazy thing about some relationship is just based on sex. That's it. There's no substance to it. There's nothing old in a relationship. And so when it's not there, it goes sour. So that's when you fall sick, it's gone. Someone was telling me when you go to the prison, the male prison, there's always women coming to visit their spouses. But in the female prison, they hardly get visitors. They hardly get visitors because most of the guys, not that they did not have boyfriend or husbands before they came in, but they left. So because those men cannot get the sex, they go and go look for the next person that can give them that. So it tells me that there's a lot of relationship out there that is built on sex, and that is it. And unfortunately, sometimes that leads to marriage. It's unfortunate because it's and that's why we're talking about when should you even give it, like the intention. How do you even know the intention before actually, or how long do you need to wait, to see, okay, is this guy there for sex or is she just there for?
Well, and I always find it interesting because if you want to get into like a philosophical discussion, you could make the argument that the whole point of a relationship is just to have sex and to have children. Why do I find you attractive? Because I think you would make a great partner to have children with, like at its fundamental. However, in saying that, I think it's very important to understand it's not just about sex and children. It's about compatibility and finding somebody that you can grow old with and live a long and healthy life with that you're going to be happy with.
Hmm. Yeah, that's true because that's what God made made it for it. Is the point, but there is more to it, right, than just the act itself. And it's just so unfortunate sometimes, right, to see the different stories around it about relationship that but and I think when you see a relationship, okay, there are situations where you see a guy dating a girl and you would know, you could sense it because the conversations are shallow. Like for me now, being a matchmaker, I would hear some of my clients say, oh, you know what, this guy I was talking to, all he says is good morning, test, how are you, what are you doing? He doesn't want to go deeper because he doesn't really care. And so it's just shallow, shallow, shallow. But he wants to claim you that, okay, I have a girlfriend, but I do not care about her life. I just want this. And sometimes it is easy to differentiate that because, But you see another guy that is very detailed. He wants to know what's going on with you. He wants to know how you're doing. He wants to know about the things that are important to you. And is even the way he talks about both of you, he's talking about we, and this is very intentional about the way about his words when it comes to you. So you could easily in a way sense that okay, this guy is more interested. This one is just interested. And there's situations where even the shallow guy who keep getting you, sleeping with you, having sex, and you just keep going like that. It's like whenever you see him, that's what you guys do. You have no other conversation, and that's it. And then you marry that same person, and you may have a child, and then you guys get married. So in a way, what are you expecting?
Well, and it's the idea that you are asking the universe for something. You have to be very careful what you're asking the universe for because you'll get exactly what you ask for.
Exactly.
And if you're looking for a beautiful spouse that it will just have sex with you, that's exactly what you're going to get. And then you cannot complain that they're not going deeper and that you don't have this deep and meaningful relationships. Like you got exactly what you asked for.
Yeah, I think so. Because then that's when you just know right there. Because they are not, that's what they want. And I think that's the thing about giving it time. Because then, if you rush into it, like you said, the first date is shallow. So, like, but giving it time is like, oh, this guy is shallow and it's been doing this consistently for 2, 3 weeks straight. When you're dating for 3 weeks, to some point you should know the person to some extent. Like you should know majority of the things about him, at least the things that you can ask aside from his friends. You've not met his friends yet, but you should know. But if you can't really sense that in 3 weeks, then what is the point of rushing into anything, right?
Well, and I think many people ultimately end up rushing into it because it's easy.
Mm.
It's like, awesome. I have a partner here who will give me sex. He or she will fulfill the bare minimum of my needs. And it's hard out there. It's hard to find somebody that I'm even slightly compatible with. So why not just settle
Mm.
and enjoy this, then do the hard legwork to find somebody that will satisfy who I am.
Yeah, I think and that's the intention, right, from both ends. Some people say, okay, I'm just with this person for now, just having fun until I find the right person for me, and then I can let them go. Yeah, so that's interesting.
So to bounce off of that, I am curious about bedroom myths. What bedroom myths have you heard?
Bedroom myth. Okay, maybe it could be like the bedroom is only where the action happens. Because, like that you can't really enjoy sex anywhere else in the house, but then because I know some people will be like, want to do it, let's go to the bedroom, and that's it, and that's their own thing. They don't believe that, oh, you can be very creative around the different spaces in your room, in your house. What other bedroom mean do I know? I think that's what I can remember right now. What about you? Maybe I would remember as you said.
One of the myths I hear a lot of is men are easy. You don't
Mm,
have to put much work into them. And this
okay.
is 100% a myth. Typically, I see, for example, at the beginning of a relationship, a man's really into it. Like you don't need much to get him going,
Yeah.
but long term, you have to put in the work and you have to explore his body. Uh,
Mm.
so, for example, somebody's like, "Yeah, I just kind of show up and he does his thing." I'm like, "Wait a minute, do you know what like words kind of get him turned on?" She's like, "What do you mean words?" I'm like, yeah, like words like call him daddy or sir or the flirty words. And she's like, no. Like, oh, I feel sorry for this man.
Yeah, it's suffering. Yeah, and I think I agree because I think a lot of people believe that because the man wants to, or maybe when you ask is willing to, means that you don't need to put much effort into it. Yeah, and I think because most of the time it's always around the women, you putting effort for the women. So it's really interesting to know that even men to want to feel that, like they want to feel like, excited and stuff like that. So that's interesting. The another myth is, you said it like, when he wants it, just give him, like, just, it doesn't really matter, just let him have it. And people would even say, just position yourself for him to have it, and that's it. Then it's done, it's done. But like you said, it's not just about that, really. It's better to say, like, he wants to. See, what I've noticed for men is like, what satisfies them is the fact that they're able to satisfy you. Like, when you want to know a man that really, truly, truly love you, is the fact that your satisfaction is important to him. So it is not just the act. If you're not really showing any interest, it's more like your log of wood, right? It's like there's no excitement for him. He's not really enjoying it unless you're like, and that is why the sound that women make the men excited. Because I was watching a comment, and the guy's like, when my woman is making those noise, I want to just be like King Kong. I just want to just give every strength that I have. So sometimes, to like, if you want your man to be excited about you, especially in the bedroom, then you need to do those things that make him excited. You need to want to. And that's why I say, it's like, sometimes you may not be really in the mood to give him, but it's the communication around, babe. This is it. Like, right now, I'm tired, so I'm not going to be able to give you my best. But I would recommend, a date night, blah, 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 around it. And then be intentional about the next date, right? So, yeah.
Well, and one thing I find when it comes to communication, and this is a bedroom myth, which is it's unmasculine to make noises in the bedroom, which is wrong. Men need to make noises in the bedroom. And I would make the argument that the importance of noises in the bedroom is a reward system.
Mm,
So, for example, if I'm going to go down on my girl and I'm doing something that she's liking, I want her to moan extra hard. I want
mm.
her to grab my hair. Well, not much of my hair, but to like grab my head and
Something, your
to
shirt, or
squirm a little bit more because that
your
tells
body.
me, oh, I need to do more of this.
Yeah, yeah. And the most interesting thing is, even women like it when they make noise. Because it's funny, because women also want to be sure that the man enjoys them. So it's like, when he makes those noise, she feels like, oh yes, he likes it. So, and I think, but some women just feel like, when they're not really interested in the act, they don't really care. But majority of the time, the woman wants to hear that sound, and she wants to feel that, oh yeah, so I'm doing something great. He likes me, he's enjoying himself, right? So both ways, it's not like more important when the man is doing it versus when the woman is doing it, but it's like, it's equally important for the pleasure of the act, sex.
Well, and again, it helps communicate. It's like, I like what you're doing. Do
Yeah,
more of it,
exactly.
please.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. And what do you think about, maybe after, making love with your partner? I like to use that, making love instead. What do you think about, maybe having conversation around, oh, this is what I like, this is great, or actually saying, oh, this was great, I like it when you do this. Because there are situations where there are a lot of men out there that are not, or women out there that are not really satisfying their partner. And usually, let me talk about the women from my women perspective, where there's a lot of men out there that are women are not satisfied. And sometimes I would say, is either the men are not interested in knowing why or what they need to do, or they're not having conversations around it. Because it gets to a point in marriage where it's like no go area when it comes to talk, like, having conversation around it. Like, they feel like, let's just keep doing what we're doing, that kind of a thing. But I feel like it's important to talk about it,
you
even to see how you
absolutely,
can improve.
yeah, you should absolutely be talking about it, like 100%. And what I find frustrating is we often confuse ignorance for malice. And
Mm,
the idea is like, oh, he doesn't know what the hell he's doing because he's trying to get back at me and da da da. It's like, no, he just doesn't know. And maybe
Yeah.
his ego is actually getting in the way because he doesn't like he clearly doesn't get it. Because he
Yeah.
does want to please you. He does want to make you orgasm. He just doesn't know how to do it. And so there's that point in after sex. One, I always recommend after sex, cuddle, like hold each other,
Yeah. Yeah.
enjoy the moment. There's nothing worse than after sex and
Just
one
kind
partner immediately gets up and walks away.
yeah. Yeah, I know. And I think if your partner really wants to cuddle with you after, that's because really like he really, really wants you. I don't know what I'm getting. He really, really wants you and he really wants to enjoy you beyond the act. Yeah, and I think it's important. Like the conversation needs to be and we need to have this conversation more often. Yeah, it's important. I actually thought about something now I can't remember anymore, but it's a wrong
Well,
conversation.
right. And I know there's one big myth that kind of annoys me when it comes to sex, which is my partner is responsible for my orgasm.
That was what I remember actually.
Yeah, and I that one irks me because one, you are responsible for your orgasm. That happens with you first and foremost. Like if you can't orgasm with your partner, the first question I always ask is, can you orgasm by yourself? If you can't even orgasm by yourself, your partner is not going to be able to do it. And
Mm,
typically at that point, it's like, no, you have to explore your own body and understand it first. And then you need to communicate to your partner what you like so to help you reach that orgasm.
mm. I do
Because
like
like for me, there's many things that women do. It's not going to not going to get me going. So
excited.
I need to communicate with her. It's like, no, don't suck on my titties, please. I don't
Yeah,
like that.
right. I think that's interesting because actually that's what came to mind for me. And that's why a lot of men are struggling, or both sides struggling to make their women, get to that point. And it's interesting that the woman herself doesn't even know what makes her excited or makes her, get to that point. So, like you said, first, it's just like some point they say, love yourself before you can love someone correctly. Like, know yourself enough before you can even like argue about someone understanding you. Do you even understand yourself? Do you understand your body? Do you understand the things that you like or dislike? And so, if you don't understand it, you keep miscommunicating to your partner, and you just keep wasting your time. So, yeah, so learn your body, understand your body, and you can easily direct that, okay, go this way, go that way. But there's something that, when it comes to that, you cannot really explore your body fully. Sometimes it takes the second body to do that. So you will never understand your body fully. So sometimes it might even be an experienced partner that would help you understand that part of your body. Because I know a lot of men that don't even like their women touching themselves or whatever, or using toys. For some women, it's the toys that helps them, have orgasm, right? And if you have a partner that doesn't approve of it because he's worried about competing with this toy, then he has to be able to get to that point if he can't do that. So there are many, yeah, so some you need some support to get to that point, and it's important to understand it. And if your partner can't get you there, he needs to be open to allowing you to experience that if he can get you to that point, right?
Well,
Yeah.
and this is why I always advocate for open-mindedness in sex. And when it comes to toys in the bedroom, I'm pro toy. Absolutely. As far as I'm concerned, you're a guy, you're a carpenter. And if all you have is a hammer, how are you going to build your house?
Mm.
Why are you going to limit your tool belt? Go out there, explore the tools, because the objective of having good sex is to make your partner feel good.
Thank you. And I think it becomes selfish when you are limiting or preventing that from happening because you're feeling insecure to say, I don't want someone else to satisfy my wife, but you can't do it. So why can't you just let her have that experience if you truly, truly claim to love her, right? Like you claim to. So I
Well,
agree.
like, and it's this weird thing is of, well, I can't make her orgasm, so I feel inadequate as a man. It's like, okay, but who's holding the toy? You're holding the toy. You're playing with her. Like it's an intimate experience. Like it's not just her doing it by herself. Like bring the toy into the bedroom, enjoy, explore. Like
Mm.
get out of your own head. This isn't about you. This is about your partner. How does your partner feel good?
Yeah, I think it's also like, okay, now the toys to it's, to a woman, it's, that maybe that's what gets her to that point. For a man too, it could be something crazy and freaky that for a woman you are not comfortable with, right? Because for some men, threesome could be what makes them excited. And be like, no, I can't do that. Or it could be something else. And you'd be like, no, I can't do that. So at some point, if there are some things that you do not even want your partner to do, maybe let's say that as a woman, you don't want your partner to do some few things that make them excited and stuff. You also have the right to say, you know, I'm not comfortable with this because in the long run, I want to be able to satisfy my woman and I'll do whatever it takes to do that. But when you're bringing this into the picture, it makes me feel inadequate and I don't want to keep feeling like that. I don't want to feel like I can't satisfy my wife and it's this thing that can do it. And I don't want to be too addicted to it or get to a point where you have to go find someone else or whatever. So at some point too, it's the sexual compatibility is important from the get-go. And asking yourself, okay, if he's not okay with this, am I okay with that too? Like if he doesn't want me to use toy, can I still like compromise on that level or no? Because sometimes you have to compromise. Or because in a way too, it's not just about you, it's also about your partner, how they feel, you know. Um, because you don't want your partner always saying no to you because he knows I can't satisfy you, then what's the point? Right? So in a way,
Well, yeah, and there's been many relationships I've been in. There's things that my girls wanted to do. It doesn't turn my crank at all. However, I'll do it for her because it
yeah.
turns her on.
Mhm.
Like, because again, it's about compromising. And there are
Yes.
some things you're just not going to be able to do because for whatever reason, it just doesn't line up. And that's okay. The
Yeah.
question then comes back to is like, are you okay if you never had to do this again?
Exactly.
If the
Yeah.
answer is no, then it's like maybe we should look for somebody who's a little bit more compatible. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. And it depends on what you prioritize in your relationship. Is sex like the high priority thing? Is what is the substance in your relationship? So it's thinking because some people that sex is the only thing they have and so it's priority level, right? And we can't always get everything we want. We have to understand that things are going to change. She may be excited this that now that she's younger, but maybe later no, it's gonna change. And that acceptance is also very helpful. That it's not always going to be the same. It's gonna
Well,
change.
you know what's interesting about this? I'm going to build on it. So sex drives of men and women are different.
Yeah.
And so men peak at their sex drive in about their early 20s. Women are their 30s. And
Yeah.
so men peak in their 20s and then our desire for sex starts slowly going down. And you notice this in old age when our testosterone levels have really dropped and we just want to cuddle.
Yeah.
And what I typically see is the women going, "No, let's go. Let's have some sex." And
Yeah.
it's so interesting how the sex drives they change. And you
Mhm.
have to be able to go with the flow with that.
Yeah. And I think that's realization. It's just like a relationship. There's times that it's gonna be all butterflies, and there are times that you guys will just eat each other in the house. There's sometimes that you guys are just roommates, and there's sometimes that you guys will be like crazy in love. And it doesn't even matter maybe when you're younger, when you're older, you might be even more crazier in love. So there are different dynamics in a relationship. But it doesn't mean that when you're getting to that point where it is not very interesting or it means that there's no love. It's just a phase and because I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I don't, I fall out of love for you." Sometimes you did not just, there's no love. You didn't fall out of any love. It's just that you're in a different phase because you cannot be with somebody for the rest of your life and expect it to be the same. Like you get tired of even your siblings, so for your partner, it's not going to be butterflies. It's not going to be the sex is gonna be up here, sometimes it's gonna be down there. And that is it. And sometimes you could be in your 50s and it's crazy, crazier than before. So imagine if you've like, oh, because we're not having it like this, I'm just gonna exit. You're missing the later fun. So it's like the understanding that, you know what, sometimes people get older, sometimes interest changes, challenges of this life. Look at people that are fighting. Do you think they think about those things? They don't. You know, so different priority at different points in life would shape your sex life, and it's the understanding of that, because that's part of life. And you know, understanding that helps, and communicating that helps too. So yeah, I think it's a great conversation to today, and I'm looking forward to what the comments is gonna look like from this one.
Well, and I think the biggest takeaway that I keep hearing continuously come up, which is you have to communicate when it comes to sex.
Yeah, communication is big. You have to always communicate, because that's like the solution for a lot of problems in this life. So communication is very important. So keep communicating, guys, and understanding each other. You know.
So
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Decoding Dating. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on Instagram. Evelyn, do you have any last words?
Like we said, sex intimacy is very important in any relationship, and it's always important that we understand your partner from the get go, know what you guys need, and continue to communicate and explore each other. It's a beautiful thing. So enjoy. So
I
yeah,
love it. And
yeah.
we'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.
Thank you for watching. Bye for now.